If you want a book for the here and now, this is where you want to be. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I'm taking you through some of my top picks for Irish contemporary fiction books. I've done a couple of other videos of this where I have gone into some of the best historical fiction I think you should read by Irish authors, some really great children's and YA titles by Irish authors, and also some really great non-fiction books. But today I'm going to be focusing mainly on one of my favourite genres, and that is contemporary fiction. All of these books are going to take place in modern Ireland. They're going to bring you right into the world that we know and love. And all of these are by some of the best authors that Ireland has to offer. First up is one of the Quintessential Irish series, and that is the Walsh Sister series by Marian Keyes. This is following the 5 Walsh sisters. Watermelon is Claire's book, and it is following Claire, who has just given birth to her daughter, on the exact same day that her husband tells her that he wants a divorce. This all follows Claire trying to come to terms with single parenthood and just how she's going to put one foot in front of the other now. Rachel's Holiday is the second book in the series. It's following Rachel, who is living in New York and is living quite a high-octane lifestyle. Her life revolves around parties, drugs, alcohol, all of the things that she knows she really shouldn't be caught up in. One night, she leaves a note for her housemates that kind of looks like a suicide note, and they call her parents in. Her parents come over to New York and bring Rachel back to Ireland, where they're going to enlist her into the cloisters. What Rachel thinks is a spa retreat where she's going to have 6 weeks of rest and relaxation is actually 6 weeks of rehab. Rachel is here to face her demons and to try and come out on the other side. Angels follows Maggie, the second oldest sister. Maggie has always been seen as having the perfect life. She has a high-powered career, she has a husband who loves her, but this has all come tumbling to the ground when Maggie finds out that Gervin has been having an affair. To lick her wounds and to come back to herself, Maggie heads off to Los Angeles for a holiday that she is never going to forget and tries to come back to herself. Anybody out there follows Anna, who, like her sister, is living in New York, and she is coming to terms with a massive car accident that has turned her life upside down. All she wants is to go home to her husband Aidan and try and put her life back together, but there always seems to be a blocker standing in between her. She's living back in Ireland with her parents at the moment, and all she wants is to get back onto that plane and figure out why it is that none of her calls are going through to Aidan, and any texts that she has sent to him have been left unanswered. The final book in the series is Helen's book, The Mystery of Mercy Close. Helen doesn't really believe in fear, but it turns out that things in her life are starting to make her feel it. Her job as a private investigator is really starting to dry up. Her relationship with Artie isn't going as she wanted it to, and some of the demons that she used to have in her life are starting to claw their way back into her mind. All of the books in the Walsh Sister series all deal with some really harsh topics. They deal with divorce, with bereavement, with mental health issues, with addiction, but they all have so much heart and love and humour in them. There are also 2 subsequent books, again Rachel, which follows Rachel about 30 or so years later, and My Favourite Mistake, which follows Anna about 15 or so years later. I absolutely love every book that Marian Keyes has written so far, and these are definitely ones that you need to pick up if you want that kind of little slice of life, what Ireland is like. If you are a little bit concerned with just how much of a pedestal we can put social media influencers on, then go and check out Idol by Louise O'Neill. This follows Samantha, who is teetering on the cusp of 3 million Instagram followers, and to celebrate marking this, she has released an essay about her first ever sexual encounter with one of her best friends when they were still in high school. When the essay starts to go viral, Lisa, who was Samantha's best friend, gets in touch with her through her agent. Lisa wants the story pulled and completely wiped from existence because everything that Samantha has said, Lisa remembers it in a completely different way. Lisa knows that what happened on that night wasn't consensual and she didn't want any part of what it was that had happened. Samantha's follower numbers start to absolutely plummet, sponsorship starts to dry up, and she starts to really worry about what her reputation is going to be. The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue takes a look at Ireland as it was coming out of the Celtic Tiger era and right into the recession of 2008-2009. This is following Rachel, who is studying English in UCC, but to get a little bit more money and to ease the financial burden on her parents, she gets a part-time job in a bookstore in Cork City. Here, she meets James and the two of them form a really great friendship, and Rachel has had a crush on her English professor Fred since the first time she saw him. Rachel decides that the bookshop is the perfect place for the launch of Fred's next book, and from here, an affair begins between Fred and one of the younger people that everybody is caught up in. Not only is there a massive affair that's happening in this book and all of the subterfuge that can bring, but there are also some really interesting social commentary parts of this book. One of the characters has an abortion, some of the characters are going through financial turmoil. This is also a really great look at Ireland coming out of prosperity and then finding itself plummeting into recession. One of Ireland's greatest authors of all time is Maeve Binchy, and one of the best books that she's ever written is Circle of Friends. This is following Bernadette, or Benny, and Eve. They grew up in the small suburb of Knockglen, and at 18 years old, they are about to fly the nest and head off to university in Dublin city centre. Here, they make a wider group of friends who are all so welcoming and so warming to the others, but this isn't without its turmoils. There's also quite a lot of tension happening back in Knockglen that just keeps bringing the two girls back home. Maeve Binchy has a huge back catalogue, all of which are set around the 1950s and 1960s in Ireland, and there is so much to discover from her writing. A fantastic book for younger readers is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagader. This is following Nishat and Flavia. Nishat has just come out as a lesbian to her parents, and her Muslim parents haven't exactly been so welcoming about this. But when she goes into school, things start to get a little bit more complicated. Nishat decides to set up a henna business as part of a kind of a business module that her school is doing, but also deciding to take up henna is Flavia. Flavia's family comes from South America, and Nishat is really concerned that Flavia is just going to be culturally appropriating. The two girls start a really big war about who is going to have the best henna company, who is going to have the most money, who's going to have the most business. But things start to thaw between the two of them when they start to spend a little bit more time together. It would be 100% remiss to do a list like this and not include Sally Rooney into it. Normal People is one of my favourites of her books. This follows Connell and Marianne. They are two students in a small school in Sligo. Connell is super popular, he's on the football team, he's got loads of friends. Marianne is very quiet, very studious, and doesn't really have anybody that she feels comfortable with in the school. Marianne and Connell start a secret relationship with one another that starts to grow legs as the two of them head off to Dublin to university in the same place. And what started out as a secret has really started to impact both of their lives. This isn't just a look at a secret relationship between teenagers who are from different social classes, but also a look at the expectations that young people can have on their heads and all of the kind of burdens that they can go through. My Hot Friend by Sophie White brings together three women who would never have gotten together if it wasn't for their circumstances, all kind of adding up together. Lexi is pretty much on top of the world. The podcast that she set up with her best friend Amanda has been skyrocketing in personality, but Amanda has been saying a lot of things that Lexi can't stand by anymore. Joanne feels like all her friends have abandoned her since she had her baby. She absolutely adores her son, but her friends just don't understand that she isn't able for those all-night benders that she used to be anymore. Whereas Claire has just realised that her entire group of friends have set up a separate WhatsApp group that doesn't include her at all, and now she is really feeling on the precipice when it comes to her friendship group. The three of them all come together because they're looking for extra friendships in their 30s, and they really start to form a fantastic bond with one another. Snowflake by Louise Nealon follows Debbie, who grew up in a tiny home in Kildare with her mother and her brother, both of whom are fighting their own demons. Maeve, Debbie's mother, has been an alcoholic for most of Maeve's life, and her brother Billy is just kind of wasting his days away. He sits on his computer all day and impersonates dead authors online while trying to fight with everything else that's going on in life. Debbie is heading off to Dublin for the first time so that she can attend university and really spread her wings and find out who she is as her own person. But life in Dublin is equal parts amazing and terrifying for this young girl. Arthur and Teddy Are Coming Out by Ryan Love is the story of Arthur and Teddy. Arthur is 79 years old and he has decided that it is time for him to live as who he truly is. He comes out to his family as gay and absolutely none of them are prepared for what he's about to tell them. None more so than his daughter Elizabeth, who struggles to accept that this is who her father really is. Teddy, Arthur's 21-year-old grandson, has noticed how his mother has taken the news, and it's really putting his own plan to come out by himself on the back burner. Arthur and Teddy formed this absolutely stunning bond. They did already have a really great bond as grandfather and grandson, but when the two of them find something like this in common, it just strengthens their bond so much more, and it really makes a fantastic relationship for both of them. Finally, if you want to look at life for quintessential Irish girl, then I would recommend Oh My God, What a Complete Aisling by Sarah Breen and Emer McLeod. This is following Aisling, a young girl from the country who has been living in Dublin for the last couple of years. She and her boyfriend John are coming on to about 7 or so years together, and she's starting to really look for the future. She's looking for marriage, she's looking for a big house, she's looking for kids, everything that she has wanted for her entire life. When the two of them head off to Tenerife and Aisling comes back with no ring on her finger, she puts her entire relationship to bed and decides that she's going to live life for herself. What follows in a Book of 5 series is Aisling changing jobs and finally discovering something that was her true calling in life, heading off to a different country and trying to set up life there and dealing with all of the homesickness and the culture shocks that come with that, bereavements, redundancies, situational changes, relationship changes, dating, all of the different things that women in their 20s and 30s are going through. I absolutely love Aisling, and she's one of my favourite characters. I relate to her so much, and there have been a lot of times where things that have happened to Aisling have also happened parallel in my own life, but I will tell you that this is a very quintessentially Irish book. If you're not very familiar with Irish culture, Irish slang, some Irish things that have happened, this might not be the book for you, but it might also be a really great introduction to those things. Those are some of my top recommendations for Irish contemporary fiction that you really need to go and check out. Is there anything that I have missed out on this list, or what is a book that, having listened to me talking, you cannot wait to go and get diving into? If you would love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a shamrock emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.